And joining us on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome back a man who was with us around Christmas time of last year when we talked to him about his book called Mary's Son. Here's a new one out. Just came out not too long ago. It's a legal thriller is the way they bill it, and it is a legal thriller. It's called The Condor Song, a novel of suspense. We're joined by Darryl Nyznyk today from out in Southern California. And Darryl, we were just talking before we went on the air. We did this about 8-9 months ago when the Christmas book came out, so it's good to talk to you again. How have you been since we chatted last time?
I've been well, Doug, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners again. It's always fun.
Yeah, good to have a chance when the woman from the publicity agency let us know you had another book out, wanted to have you on, and had a chance to read through it. And whenever I read novels, I don't want to get too detailed because I don't want to give away any plot points, but I did enjoy the book.
Good, and I have to tell you, obviously I enjoyed writing it. It's one of those things where you get into a tale of suspense, and it excites the day, if you will.
Yeah, this is a little different type of book, obviously, than the Christmas book that you wrote. Like you said, it's more of a suspense, kind of a thriller novel. Different type of writing for you? Did you enjoy it more, or is it just something different?
You know what? It's something different, I think, is the best way to say it, Doug. I love reading suspense, and the Christmas story was, as I think you may recall, it was a story I told to my kids,
right.
And I just needed to write it. This one, because I was a lawyer and had some amazing experiences in the law, I needed to tell this story, an environmental thriller, basically. And this is the kind of stuff that I really love to write.
Yeah, it takes place out in your neck of the woods, and it has an environmental theme to it, but it's also a legal story as well. You get some good kind of trial dialogue in it. Before we get into the details of it, whatever you want to talk about as far as that goes, the Condor, have you ever seen one live? I've never seen one. I've seen pictures of them. They're pretty rare.
I have never seen the California condor. Obviously, I think we've all seen the condor's cousins, vultures, and things like that in zoos.
Right.
The California condor is, when you look at it, the first reaction is, it's kind of an ugly bird. But the truth, the sense I have when it's flying, because of this, it's so huge. It's almost elegant up in the air, and I would love to see one flying in the wild. It would be magnificent, magical.
You talk about in the book how few there are that they estimate, I guess. It's under what, a couple of hundred at most?
Yes. In fact, I have to tell you, when I started writing this book, the numbers were under 50.
Wow.
And in that period of time, the number of California condor, I should say, have increased. And it's because of the captive breeding program. But one of the major issues is that none are born in the wild. There haven't been any hatchings of newborn birds in the wild in decades. And ultimately, that's what will be required for this bird to survive.
Yeah, and that is kind of the focal point, obviously, not only the title, but in the story, it's a condor egg, right? That kind of is kind of what the main focal point is, but it leads to a legal case, has to do with, I guess, a development or a ski development that wants to be built in an area, and that's kind of where it starts.
Sure. In fact, if you don't mind, Doug, I'll just tell you kind of where the germ for this story came from. Back in after World War II, the Sierra Club of California did a study of Southern California mountain regions to find areas that were reasonably good for ski resorts. And they found an area called the Mineral King Valley in the southern Sierra Nevada mountains. Pristine, magnificent valley. During the summer, it has every conceivable type of animal and flora, and in the winter, just magnificent ski slopes. The Walt Disney Company, because Disney was an avid skier, decided they wanted to do that development. Mm-hmm. Well, they made a pitch for it in the 60s, and ultimately the Forest Service says, all right, you guys can do it. But the Sierra Club raised its head and said, we're not letting you. and a 10-year battle occurred. And that was the germ for this story, the basic idea for it, if you will.
Usually what Disney wanted, he got, or the company got. We know that down here in Florida.
I'll tell you. That is the truth, Doug. And the unusual thing about this is because of Walt Disney's nature films, we may all remember them as kids, he was made an honorary member of the Sierra Club, yet the Sierra Club fought him tooth and nail on this. And as an attorney, that was an interesting issue for me all along.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You go into detail in the book on that, and also there's a murder involved. You have to have that in any kind of legal thriller or some kind of crime, so that makes it interesting. And talk a little bit about the case part of it. Obviously, you're a lawyer. You just mentioned that earlier. I guess you draw on a lot of your own experience in the courtroom scenes to write those. Right?
Boy, that is the truth, Doug. And, the main story is about a lawyer, early 50s, who's lost his family and his job. He took an ethical stand that people in his former law firm were not particularly happy about. In any event, it's taken him a long time, 13 years, to get back to where he's even earning a semblance of a living. And he gets roped into this case because of a friend of his, and he doesn't know at the time that his former law firm represents the opposition. So it's a real battle between this guy who's trying to find his feet again and the evil that his big firm represents, unfortunately.
Do you take, I guess you have to if you're writing novels, but do you take elements of people obviously you change the names and maybe alter it a little bit, but people that you've dealt with in your practice in this particular book?
I do, Doug, but rather than a specific character relating to somebody, a specific person from my past, I think, like with any writer, I take elements of various people I've known and plant them into the characters. And some of the events that occur in this, are amalgamations of events that occurred in my legal career.
Yeah, as a lawyer, I mean, you do a lot of writing, but it's more technical, I suppose, than this. But it gives you a chance now to kind of be a little more creative with what happens in a courtroom. You can let it go or take it where you want it to go, not necessarily where the judge tells you it's going.
Yes, but in that regard, Doug, and I appreciate you raising that issue, because one of the things that when I have read legal thrillers in the past, one of the things that bothered me a little bit was writers who would take a little bit too much license with the law. And as a lawyer, you say, wait a minute, that can't happen. But in this case, I tried as best I could to stick to what a courtroom would really be like. And to be honest with you, I'm so grateful for some of the comments from non-lawyers who say it was so real, it just felt so good to learn about law, the legal issues, when they're reading the suspense. So I felt good about that.
Yeah, no, you did capture that, and as most people, they watch legal shows on TV, I guess you get a certain sense of what a courtroom is like. That's really not really that accurate, because you see a show in 52 minutes, whatever it is now, 45 minutes, it's all wrapped up easily. That's not the way it is.
Yeah. No, it isn't. But you know what? The interesting thing, and what I tried to convey in here, is the drama of the courtroom and the drama of life, for God's sakes. That's what we're all about. That's what makes life interesting. And I really liked my character, Sean Donovan. He had a tough time, but he has to do battle to make it come out right.
Is it difficult when you sit down to write a suspense type of novel or a thriller type of novel? You have to come up, obviously, with some twists. Do you try and come up with those first and then try and plant them in there, or you got to lead to that somehow? I guess that's the biggest challenge, right?
It is, Doug, and you hit that. That is probably, in a suspense thriller, that is the biggest challenge, because if everything goes the way it should, chronologically, it's not interesting. So you need those twists. From my perspective, I know where I'm going with the story at the end. I typically know the beginning, but then as I'm wandering through the story, that's when I come up with the twists. And oftentimes, I'll have to go back to adjust a prior scene so the twist makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that. If you get off track there, you've got to figure out how do you get back to where I was supposed to go in the first place. It's kind of like a puzzle you're putting together.
You got it. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, you did it in this book, Darryl. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. The twists are it's what makes reading suspense most exciting. Is wow, I didn't know that was going to happen, or geez, that's surprising to me. But still, the twists have to come out of the realistically of the characters.
Name of the book is The Condor Song, a novel of suspense. Darryl Nyznyk is our guest on the show. And Darryl, give out a website again. I know this is published by Cross Publishing, or do you have your own website you want to direct people to?
Well, actually, they can go to marysson.com, same website as I had for the other book, and they'll learn about this one and my others. And they can go to Amazon to pick up copies either on their Kindle or print cover, the print book, and love to have people enjoy it. Great.
And are you working on another one?
I am indeed, and it's a thriller again, and it's you're familiar, Doug, I believe, with the Da Vinci Code?
Sure.
And I would call that kind of a spiritual thriller. Well, I'm working on a spiritual thriller that I'm excited about it because it's got me twisting and turning. It's been fun with it.
Oh, great. Well, when that comes out, probably early next year sometime you're looking at, or?
I'm hoping for it to come out next spring or maybe a little bit after, and it's called The First Gospel, and we'll see what happens with that. But yes, I would love to talk to you again.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know either through your publicist or email me direct, and we'll love to have you back on. But in the meantime, get the Condor Song. And Darryl Nyznyk's been our guest. Darryl, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it very much.